right, so we are going to continue to capture scriptures, and I know that you probably already have some scriptures that have been downloading to you that God has kind of spoke to you on as you've been capturing your goals and um, going through all of your vision board items and everything. But over the next couple of days, I just want to spend some time in Habakkuk since that's our foundational book of the Bible that we're using. And that's where our foundational scripture comes from for this entire challenge. But I want to step you through it because if you're like me, even if you have your goals written down, even if you have the perfect plans and you feel like they align with what God is telling you to do, the human factor comes in and you still ask God, like, I know this is what you want me to do, but I'm doing X, Y, and Z, but I'm just not seeing results. How can you allow all these things around me to keep happening? I know what you call me to do. I know what you're telling me to do, but God, how can you allow all this to go on around me? And that's where we find Habakkuk, the prophet, in chapter 1 of Habakkuk. So I just want to read verses 1 through 4 for you. So it begins, How long, O Lord, must I call for help? But do you not listen? Violence is everywhere, I cry. But do you not come to save? Must I forever see these evil deeds? Why must I watch all this misery? Wherever I look, I see destruction and violence. I am surrounded by people who love to argue and fight. The law has become paralyzed, and there is no justice in the courts. The wicked far outnumber the righteous, so that justice has become perverted. The first time I read that, this was the New Living Translation. The first time I read it all the way through, I was like, oh my God, is he talking about right now? 2025, 2026? Is he talking about like the world we live in right now? And that's the thing, it's so relatable. So I love this verse because it shows us just, it gives us permission that as we are having these human thoughts and these human connections, that we can go and ask God, like, God, don't you see what's happening? When are you coming to save me? Like, why is this happening? There are a couple of questions that Habakkuk asks. How long? Why? And do you see this? I don't know about you, but I have definitely asked those questions a lot. And if you are like me throughout this journey, you've definitely been the enemy has probably tried to come and attack you, and there are probably some things that you are have been super focused on, but it seems like you're just not making any traction. And even before the challenge started, there's a reason that you were brought to this challenge. There's some things that you want to actually start working towards instead of running from. And so as you sit with those items, you might find yourself frustrated, like, Lord, you see me trying. Don't you see that I'm trying? But look at the world around me. How can I be productive? How can I show up the way that I need to show up when everything around me is just in a state, right? And so that's where we find Habakkuk in verses 1 through 4. So today, I know you may have other scriptures that you're reading, but take a moment today and read verses 1 through 4 of chapter 1. And then I want you to answer these couple of questions, right? What situation in your life feels unresolved or unfair? Where have you been silent when God has was inviting you to speak honestly? What emotions have you been carrying that need to be released? The one thing that Habakkuk teaches me or taught me while reading the entire book, honestly, is that there is nothing too hard for God. God can handle our hard questions. If we come at God with something that we truly don't understand, that's frustrating us, that we're upset about, God can take it, right? So it almost gives you permission to say, you know what, God, as I'm navigating this new journey, I'm doing this work. I've written down these things. I've plotted this course. I know, it's not going to be easy, but what happens when things come along that kind of distract you or make you veer from what you feel like God has placed in front of you to do? Well, like Habakkuk, he goes to God and he says, God, don't you see how long and why are the questions that he asks, right? So I want to finish up today or close out today just by saying there is nothing too hard for God. Ask him the questions, come to him honestly and boldly, and watch how he speaks directly to you and gives you the clarity that you need. All right, so that's all for today. These are going to be little short snippet Bible studies taking us through Habakkuk. I'm not going to do the entire chapter. I'm just pulling out a couple of scriptures that really speak to me. So stick with me, and I look forward to talking to you the next time. Bye.